my name's Peyton, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I have that I read and then halfway through I decided to stop reading them, halfway, partway, 10 pages, whatever it is. I stopped reading them before I finished them for some reason. These are books that I either stopped reading partway through because I found something more interesting to read and I just never got around to finishing them, or I just decided that I didn't want to finish the book, and maybe hopefully in the future I'll change my mind about that. These are by no means bad books, they're just books that I was not interested in reading at the time, or that just weren't for me. The writing style, the concept, the characters, for whatever reason I decided I didn't like it that much. The first book that I have is Hate List by Jennifer Brown. Hate List is the story of a high school girl named Valerie, and the year prior her boyfriend had decided to open fire in the school cafeteria. Because of her association and connection to him, people consider her partly to blame for the incident, and so this year she is just going back to school for the first time since it happened, and she's having trouble adjusting to school life and having people talk behind her back and stuff like that. So I still have my bookmark in here, and I got 45 pages into the book, and the reason that I didn't finish this book is because it honestly, at the time, I wasn't interested in a super hard, sad book like this, and considering how long it wasn't like a short, sad read, it was like 500 pages of just really depressing stuff, and that's why I decided not to finish this book. I was looking for more of a happy read, but I don't have anything against this book in particular. It was just harder subject matter than I was looking for at the time. The reason that I haven't really been motivated to pick this up since then is sort of the same reason. I've really not been looking for something sad. Since it's summer especially, I've been looking for happier, like romance novels like that, so that's why I haven't been motivated to pick this up again. The next book that I have is Breaking Dawn by Stephenie Meyer. If you haven't read the Twilight books, I'm sure you've seen the movies or even heard of them, so there's no reason for me to really give a summary of this one. Once again, I still have my little dog-eared page in here, and I got 210 pages into this book, but I think the reason that I never really finished this book is just because I was tired of the story. I did love the first 3 books. I didn't love New Moon, but I loved the other 2, and New Moon was okay. But I think that I just never was really super invested into this story as much as other people were, so 4 like 500-page books was just way too much for me. That being said, I did love both of the Breaking Dawn movies, and they're actually my favorite movies in the whole series, but I just feel like 4 500-page books on a story that I wasn't absolutely obsessed with was way too much. So that's why I never finished it, and I have no interest in finishing the story because I obviously already know what happens. The next book that I have is Matched by Condie, or Condie, I'm not 100% sure. But Matched is the story of a girl living in a dystopian society. It's got a super strict government, they have curfews and like a bunch of crazy strict rules. And basically the government decides who your match is, so they get to decide who your partner is. So the main character, Cassie, is going to her matching ceremony, and her best friend's picture comes up on the screen, and then for one split second another boy's picture comes on the screen. She kind of just has to decide which boy she wants, and it's sort of like this weird love triangle thing. I have no bookmark in here. I have no idea how far I got into the book. All I can really tell you is that it just felt like a really boring dystopian book. It was like after the Hunger Games, Divergent. This kind of just felt like there was nothing really original or like new about it. It was like we live in a dystopia, but it's like the government's really strict and like all that boring stuff. So I wasn't really into it that much. I'm sure if I read it first and it was like I'd never heard of a dystopian novel before, I would have been much more interested in it. It just sort of felt been there, done that, quite honestly. So I don't really have any interest in finishing this book. Maybe if someone lets me know that it's like the most amazing dystopian novel they've ever read, maybe I'll try again, but for now, I don't think I'm gonna read this. So the next book that I have is The Selection by Kiera. If you want a summary of this book by me, if you watch my May 2020 book haul, I talk about this book in there because I literally just bought it, but once again, just like Match, I got 23, 22 pages in, and then all my other books that I had ordered came in, and I wasn't interested enough in this one to finish it, so I went on to a different book. But once again, it feels like a boring dystopian novel. I don't know when it came out. I just feel like dystopian novels just aren't what they used to be, you know? There was nothing really interesting or special about it, but to be fair, I didn't really get to the important part of the story 20 pages in, so I do want to read this book. I just have so many other things that I'm much more interested in reading right now, so it may take a while for me to get around to it. However, I am going to read it, I promise. The next book that I have is The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. The Sky is Everywhere is the story of a high school girl named Lenny, and after her sister Bailey's sudden death, she finds herself torn between Bailey's ex-boyfriend Toby, who shares in Lenny's grief, and Joe, the new kid in town, who shares Lenny's interests in band and music, stuff like that. I have no idea how far I got into this book, but I can tell you that it wasn't very far. I didn't really like how the story started. I found that the build-up to the story wasn't very good. The thing is, like, the sister's stuck between these two guys, but she starts to, like, date and, like, kiss one of them so early into the story. I was like, what are we gonna do with the rest of the pages? And I also found the content matter to be very, very depressing, which I wasn't really interested. So just like the hate list, I picked up something a little bit happier instead of finishing this book. So I wouldn't recommend it, and I don't think I'm ever going to read it again. The next book I have is the most disappointing book I have ever read, like literally ever read in my entire life, which is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. If you want a summary of this book, assuming you've never heard of it, once again, my May 2020 book haul has a summary of it. If you look up this book anywhere, there is nothing but fantastic reviews. It was like Goodreads 2019 best romance of the year. Everyone loves it. Everyone thinks it's the best love story ever. I think it was terrible. I got 242 pages into this book. I put my heart and soul into this book. I read it for weeks. It got to the point where I was not reading for like weeks because I just didn't want to read it. I just really was not in the mood to read this book. I feel like I should explain it just so you understand what I'm talking about. So basically, the son of the first female president of the United States and the Prince of England sort of have beef. They don't really like each other. And then the press sort of like starts painting them as rivals, and it's becoming like a diplomatic incident. The heads of state end up forcing them to pretend to be friends, but they end up becoming real friends and then falling in love. Let's talk about what's bad about it. There are so many problems I have with this book. The first problem being neither of the characters are likable at all. The main character, Alex, is so annoying. Like, he's so mean to Prince Henry for literally no reason at the beginning. He is mean to his sisters. I don't even have a specific reason why I don't like him. I just don't think he has any likable qualities. He's never like really nice for just to be nice. He kind of treats his sisters and his moms okay. Once again, he's not really nice. I don't know why I don't like him, I just don't. And I don't like Prince Henry because he kind of puts up with it. He kind of puts up with Alex being a jerk the whole book. And what I also don't like about the book is that the politics, they try to get like political and like talk about the election coming up, and it's like there's so many people in the political world of this book, it's hard to keep track of them. I don't know if this is making any sense. I just don't like the book. I just don't like it. And that's all I really have to say. Anyone who gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, I don't really understand, because everyone's saying it's like cute and like sweet, and I don't think it is. I don't even think it's super romantic, to be honest. What I will say is that Noelle Gallagher, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, said that around page 200 she had a little bit of trouble finishing the book and she was considering not finishing it, which is about where I am. So maybe I'll continue it and I'll have a complete change of heart and I'll absolutely love it. But I honestly can't imagine that happening right now. So for now, I will not be picking up this book again. The next book that I have is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. The Hate U Give is a story of a girl who witnesses her best friend being wrongfully killed by the police and sort of the aftermath of the incidents and what she has to deal with and like grieving. The main reason I picked up this book is because I really, really wanted to see the movie. I feel really bad watching a movie, especially like a movie based on a young adult book, when I haven't read the book first. But that being said, I couldn't really get through this book. I was really upset when the boy gets killed. It made me super sad. If you can't tell, I don't like sad books. I like happy, love story, romantic books. I don't really like to read books about like hard subjects. However, I haven't seen the movie yet, even though it's been like 4 years since it came out, because I feel guilty doing it having not read the book. So, I will read this book. I just haven't read it yet, but I will read it. Oh, and I also want to add that I got 78 pages into this book, which is not even halfway through. So I should have given it more of a chance. I try to give a book 100 pages before I give up. Clearly I didn't do that on most of these books. The next book that I have is The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I picked up this book because Nicola Yoon wrote Everything, Everything, and that is one of my absolute favorite books. It's right there, if you can't see it. It's on the bookshelf. The Sun is Also a Star is the story of a girl whose family is about to be deported, and she's really worried about it because she has no memory of the place that they're from, and she really doesn't want to move away from the place that she's known her whole life. And a boy who has always gotten good grades and like been super smart and someone his parents are proud of, but he doesn't really want to admit to them that he wants to be like a writer or a poet. I don't remember. It's something not like science-y, which I think is what they want him to be. So he's sort of worried about ruining his parents' expectations. But this book was a total disappointment. I got 103 pages into it. So I did give it 100 pages. I don't like this book because I don't like stories where like teenagers talk about like love and like life. They're just so poetic and beautiful, and they talk about what life really means. That's what this book is. And I think that it's really, really, really stupid. I know it came out as a movie, and maybe the movie's better because you don't have to read through all the garbage stuff that they say, but I don't think that that's possible. So I totally would not recommend this book, and I don't see myself ever finishing it. So while I was looking through my bookshelves for all the books that I was going to talk about in this video, I found Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. And I don't know why I never finished this book. It's basically the story of a girl who has an obsession with Jack the Ripper, or she's in love with him. The back says, I was the girl who loved the Ripper. So that's what it's about. I only got 13 pages into it, but I do remember really, really liking it. I think the reason that I didn't finish it is because I bought it on a school trip when me and my friends snuck off to a Barnes & Noble's, and we all got books, and it probably, obviously I couldn't start it on a school trip, so I just kind of forgot about it. But I will be reading this very soon because it was a really interesting story, even though I only got 10 pages into it. It was like creepy and like interesting. I don't know how else to describe it because I obviously haven't read much, but I will be reading this book soon. The last book that I have not finished is The Beginning of Everything by Robyn Schneider. The Beginning of Everything is a story of a high school senior who basically got in a car accident. His girlfriend cheated on him. He lost all of his friends. So much crap has happened to him, and he finally has a senior year, and he doesn't really know what to do with himself. His accident has like permanently injured him, so he can't play tennis like he's always wanted to. He meets a new girl. She kind of likes him, but she's like quirky and fun, so he doesn't really know what to do because she's not like the other girls. But I will tell you that I have tried to read this book 3 times. The third time, I got 79 pages into it, and the only reason I got that far is because I had no books to read, and all my books were coming in the mail. And so I was like, maybe I can finish this book before all the new books that I ordered came in. And I didn't, and so I'm never reading it again. It's really, really bad. That's all I can tell you. There's like not much of a plot to it. It's kind of boring. It opens with a really, really disturbing scene. So if you're gonna buy it, or you have read it, you know what I'm talking about, or be prepared for the most disturbing scene of your life. That's all I have to say about this book. Don't get it. So those are all the books that I have stopped reading halfway through. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if any of these books are like your favorite books of all time. Let me know if any of these books you really, really love, because maybe I was wrong about them and I just didn't give them enough of a chance. Follow me on Goodreads. I always post what I'm currently reading, and I update it all the time so you can know what I'm reading. I post a lot of reviews, which I think are really good. And subscribe to my channel if you like the video. Thanks for watching.